also during the Apple event, there was an iPad Air that was actually announced, and the cool thing is about this, it's got the brand new M1 chip in it. So the iPad Air was announced during the Apple event, which was recently launched, and the iPad Air is going to be available for pre-order on Friday, which for me that's today in Australia time. So for Americans that's yesterday if you're watching this video upon release. But the iPad Air will actually be available at launch on March 18th, which is about 8 days away from now. And it's pretty cool with the iPad Air is significantly lighter than an iPad or an iPad Pro. I have the iPad Pro 2019 edition, so I've not used the M1 chip to its full capabilities as I've not had my hands on it. However, from going to stores like JB Hi-Fi or even going to Apple's actual store and testing out the M1 chip on the old iPad Pro, which is a 2021 edition, the M1 chip on the iPad Pro definitely smashes out the old chip on the 2019 iPad or iPad Pros. And pretty much the M1 chip is phenomenal when it comes to everything, because everything is super fast, lightning fast, switching between apps, doing heavy duty apps such as photo editing or anything like that. The M1 chip is pretty much phenomenal in what it does compared to the older chips that were on the iPads or even the iPhones, for example. Now the iPad Air 2022 comes in two storage sizes which are available to you. One is 64 gigs and the other is 256 gigs. If it was me personally, I'd much rather go 256 gigs over 64 gigs just because I have a lot of photos and stuff I need to do with, mainly because I have to do YouTube and everything. So 64 gigabytes for me is not big enough for me as a YouTuber. However, for some people that don't really use the iPad that much, or they just don't need to store that much data, whatever it may be, then 64 gigs might definitely be up your alley. So go and get 64 gigs if you know that you don't need a 256 gigabyte upgrade. But like I said, for me or other content creators or something like that, would need a bigger upgrade of 256 gigabytes. So that's an option there for you. Now the 64 gigabyte model comes in at $659 US, and the 256 gigabyte model comes in about $719 US. So that's definitely a pickup if you have not already pre-purchased it. Now pre-purchases, like I said, they're available Friday, so for me that's today, and they're going to be available on the 18th of March if you want to go and get that. Now, if you were to ask my personal recommendation, if you are looking to actually upgrade an iPad to a more newer model, let's say you have an older model like a 2015 or 16 model, looking at the new iPad Air 2022 with the M1 chip, and let's say you don't want to spend $2,000–$3,000 on a iPad Pro, then a iPad Air is definitely up your alley, as it's more of a budget friendly system, the iPad Air, and comes with a lightning fast M1 chip. So if you want to have a significantly faster performance but you don't want to break the bank, then iPad Air 2022 is definitely up your alley. Comparing it to buying something like an iPad 2020 or an iPad Pro 2020 just for an M1 chip, a iPad Air is definitely a budget friendly system. And even though not many people take pictures with an iPad, but the iPad Air, if you want to know, comes with a 12 megapixel camera. If you actually want to go and shoot videos or photos with your iPad, not many people do it, but some people do it, or they have to do it for work. So they definitely upgraded the camera from what it previously was. So the pictures come out alright as well as the recording. That's pretty much a basic sum up of the iPad Air 2022. If you want it, I'll leave a link down below if you want to go purchase it. And also leave in comments if you're actually going to be purchasing the new iPad Air 2022 with the M1 chip, or you're happy with the concurrent iPad that you currently have. For me, I have the iPad Air 2019 edition. Am I looking at the upgrade? Yes. So for me, the iPad Air 2022 with the M1 chip, 256 gigabyte model is definitely something I'd be looking at. And if I do get it, definitely I'll do a review on it. So thanks for watching today's video, and if you haven't already, make sure to click on this video to check out more Apple events.